Good days, viewers all over the world. My name is Musa Ali. I'm welcoming you to today's edition of Quarrel Tabloid Podcast. Together with me in the studio today is. I am Fatima Bintu. Thanks for joining us. Thank you very much, Adia. Together with us today in the studio, we have another giant who has been topmost when it comes to the security and security system in this country. He is a retired chief publicist of Kwara State Nigerian Police Command. Permit me to welcome to the Kwara Tablet podcast today the SP Ajayi Okasame retired. Mr. Most welcome.
Thank you so much.
I hope I get your citation.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. So, sir, we would like to start by asking you this honest question. That's what is the level of Nigeria as a giant of Africa with over 200 million people? Preparedness in the face of heightened insecurity. Is Nigeria as a country, a giant of Africa for that matter, actually prepared for what we are seeing?
Thank you. Nigeria as a nation, you know, we are still evolving, we are still growing. That is why sometimes in spite of our population, people refer to Nigeria as a developing country. We thank God we are no more there are no more being called underdeveloped, but we are not developing country. But we are not yet developed. That's number one. The second, when you're talking about security, security is a general phenomenon. It's something that's happening all over the world, not only in Nigeria. And we can't say because we are experiencing insecurity in some parts of Nigeria and then claim that Nigeria is insecure or we don't have the capacity to protect ourselves. The government is trying to and people too are also trying their best. But like I said earlier, there is no nation that has what we call peace of graveyard. The only way is just peaceful like that. And there are no living beings in such areas. So we expect some issues, we will of security issues, most of them. But the fact does remain that we have to have a determination of focus, not only the security of the government, but all together we have to be ready to fight insecurity in Nigeria. So to summarize my because I would have just said Nigeria is still good. Because we are not at war, but we're having some challenges. Which the government is trying its best to surmount, but we need the support of we need support of every single individual because no one person can say and there's no one agency can come out. If we do, as media people, this information you are giving is part of finding solutions to insecurity in Nigeria.
Okay, please, before you go on, from what you just said now, I can deduce that the insecurity is a global phenomenon, so, and definitely as we have. But the question right now is because of what we've been passing through as a country, because of the avalanche of ungoverned spaces, because the kind of crimes we've been experiencing now are what we have never experienced before. Nobody would ever thought that movement from Ilorin to OC is going to be given another second thought. But over the time, this has already given us a very, very big concern. So now, what I'm really asking you is, going by what is on the ground, because security is one sector that you cannot just say, we leave it to government. Every hand must be on deck. Going by what is available right now, can you tell us that as a country we prepare? Because we've already noticed that the criminal elements are becoming sophisticated every now and then. They've already mastered the art of kidnapping people, taking them into the deep forest where the hand of law hardly catch up with them. That is one. Then two, the use of technology, which we believe should be the superior power of the government of today, has not been seen to have worked. So you as a security expert, do you still believe Nigeria should still hands up or just keep quiet while all these continue criminals day and night.
You see, like you said, for example, in practice now, there are things we do not or we have not experienced before that have started coming from it. And I can attribute all these things to I can tell you what I always tell people that all these things have some political underpin. All these things we are experiencing. From history, from what we read sometimes ago, that some people brought uh, fighters from from our neighboring countries, like for example the Sahel region. We have people flowing to Nigeria through Libya, through Mali, what we call Niger Republic and Cameroon. We have borders in those places where we were told that there were people that were brought in to come and fight. To come and fight during one election period that somebody was not allowed and that I don't want to start mentioning it. That they brought them here from getting to this country, what they expected from the previous government, they were expecting that we are going to fight. Those people just handed over power without problem. Now, these people that they brought, it now becomes a problem for them. It's either to take care of them or to send them packing. And when there was no thing nothing for them to that will take care of them, they started doing all this. And you know one thing I knew about Nigeria as a security officer is that when something happened first and we were able to meet it gets it started moving faster. You see people getting their own. By the time we started experiencing what we call kidnap, it was during the source control issue in the south part of the country where they kidnapped a white man, kidnapped some directors of big oil companies and demand for ransom. And the ransom they demanded that time, they were saying it was their oil that those people are taking away and they are spoiling their land and their water. Because of that, they were not doing it purposely to them, but they did it purposely to attract attention from both Nigeria and international community and succeeded. That was why Yaradua created that NNDC or something that so people, some other criminals now found another way of making money from that and they started, kidnapping people for money. And before you know it, it spread like a wildfire in the system. So everybody began to do over. So when I say it has some political undertones that it has become a tool in the hands of politicians to want to fight. Initially we used to have talks and this sort of thing. Some of the even talks are not even more prominent now these days, but they have what they do, which these bandits are just of them, form part of what they do to attract the attention of them. Because as a policeman, we've arrested a lot of kidnappers, we have arrested a lot of these bandits, but you discover that even those people you arrested, they have collected 100 million ransom yesterday, collected 50 million, collected the money that they are mentioning. When you arrest them, you hardly find up to 10 or 15,000 naira in them. So you have to begin to ask, where did these people keep this money? That is one. Secondly, you see the kind of weapons they carry, the sophistication of the weapons they carry, even the police and the military do not have such weapons. You now find out that you now ask yourself, where did they get that? Once you purchase and take it for 7 months, you haven't with them around 600, 700,000 naira. You even get one. Not people that you don't get them in Nigeria. How did they get them? So you see people buying all these things and giving it to their men, the food soldiers to go and commit all these things are coming. So if you're talking about security, for example, in Kwara State now, you cannot tell me that the security agencies are not working. They're actually working. But if you say a security official is working or agency is working, it's just like you say to whom much is given, much is expected. So if you are giving much, definitely you have the power. You have the right to demand for much from such people. A situation where policemen are not well funded, the welfare is nothing to write home about, and you expect them to perform optimally. Some of them will die. Nothing happened. 13, 15 people died in Delta just today. Nothing happened. They killed 7 soldiers in Delta that time. What was the name of whether Obama or something? And you see the military, the president, everybody during the burial ceremony of those late military. But when you see 70, 30 policemen, that nobody even no I lead is pattern. So you begin to think that this woman that we expect them to perform optimally. So there are so many impediments to security agencies getting what they want. So as a result of that, you see, and these criminals, they know the limitations of what is a security agency. Like you mentioned that there are some over cases in Nigeria we still have them before now.
Mhm.
Don't have all those parks, all those forests before now.
Sure.
That nothing happened. So people have come, they are saying that yes, even if you say the military should go there, when there are no enough equipment for them, talking about technology, talking about all these things, even if you have the technology, there are there no people that work in the technology. We have issues. That's why I mentioned that because what we need in Nigeria is complete patriotism from the citizen. Whether you are a policeman, you are military, you are a civilian, you are a government, you are a politician, we need that patriotism in all of us to be ready to carry Nigeria on our head. Not to be saying, my party is A, my party is B. So if A is doing something good, B will not compliment the A, he will be looking for where to drag him down. And the rest of the state is not something that it is too much work to overpower. But the fact is that there are some saboteurs that are working tirelessly to ensure that our security in Nigeria is permanently breached. So that's why I'm saying, until we get to that point, you remember when this government just came, all these issues when that we're not hearing about any banditry again, you would usually think kidnapping are people that want to just take advantage of people to make money. But now, why is it that when they started hearing about coalition, collaboration, the primary, this and that, this thing started coming up again. So we should look deeper into our way, into the way of our position and every other person. You're talking about killing in Pakistan, for example. You see, how can a whole village be laid down? No single person has been arrested. And people are living in the area. You have military, you have police, you have everybody. Then by the time they say, okay, you are arrested, tomorrow another one will happen. So that is to say, we have a lot of people sabotaging the effort of the government and the